Greetings lists and welcome to another video. So we're going to talk about the OCG Forbidden Limited lists, and as opposed to the TCG, these always do get announced beforehand. They already knew that this list was coming, and it was slated to be announced for September 21st in the OCG. Well, technically September 22nd. They do show it like 12 hours ahead of us. And before we talk about the OCG list, let's talk about the metagame real quick. As opposed to us in the TCG, the Justice Hunter strategies were doing very well for a couple of months. And the TCG Forbidden Limited list was very good for the current format. They actually respected and they actually hit the contending decks that were doing very well. In the OCG, Yummy, Vanquish Soul, and Dracotail, prior to this list, were still at full power. And as you can see here on the screen, the results just show you like how powerful these decks are. Like Yummy, for a good amount of time, has been very meta relevant. Same as Vanquish Soul. And whatever happens on this list has to be as good as what happened in our TCG list. Otherwise, they are going to have another format with these decks just contending. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Forbidden, we got Ouroboros and we got Obedience Gold. I want to talk about Ouroboros first. So, if we look at this metagame report, the very next deck after this pie chart, it's Onomatorizio. And that's not to say that Onomatorizio is a looming threat that is going to take over the OCG or anything like that. But remember, they just got Mitsurugi. So the next metagame report will have Mitsurugi cards involved, and the Raizio Mitsurugi strategy was known for playing Ouroboros. So this is them taking a precaution in order for that deck to be checked. Now, for Obedience Gold, I don't think this comes to a surprise. This deck, like this card, is the best card in Yummy. This card was a staple in every list, and like this card is so powerful that even in this TCG, Yummy players are main decking Triple Tactic Thrust just to get access to Obedience School, like when they're going second. So yeah, this card being forbidden does change things. Now Yummy does not get locked as often. However, the explosiveness of the deck is toned down to a fair degree. And I think this is a very fair hit. I don't think that you need to do many other Yummy hits. You will notice that there is another Yummy hit on this list. But yeah. Very good start. Limited, we got Herald of the Earthlight, Rosin, Joko, Ketu Dracotail, and Eclipse Wyvern. Let's start with Eclipse Wyvern first. So, Burst Protocol is the next main set in the OCG. That set is confirmed to have Dragon Link support, which is the main theme. And historically, this card has been very strong in the Dragon Link strategy. I think as long as Malice and Lunarite are popular, this deck won't do as great because people will just side against this strategy because it will overlap against the other two strategies as well with little to no issue. It also overlaps with Crystron, which is most likely going to be more vulnerable to Lancia because of the limit of Joko. So Joko being limited actually does change things. K9 I don't think people will argue, was one of the best engines in the game at the moment. Like, very similar to the game design behind Sprite, you have to be careful with designing future archetypes that involve level 5 monsters because of the existence of Joko. Like, in the TCG, what Konami did was hit the strategies around K9. In the OCG, K9 was good enough and it overstated its welcome for a long periods of time, so it's already fair to hit K9 as a strategy overall. So let's talk about Rosin alongside the Joko. This actually does hit the Vanquish Soul strategy, because if you look at the Vanquish Soul deck, the way it was played in the OCG, it was not very similar to the TCG. In the TCG, a lot of players were playing K9 as a minimalistic engine. In the OCG, it was played as a large engine, especially because of Noroi. Now, with both Rosin Limited and Joko Limited, is there a world where we play 3 Noroi now in the Vanquish Soul deck? Like, Noroi being a very, very powerful card in the theme. You can also justify playing Chaotic Elements as another card to be played in the theme. And Chaotic Elements actually makes sense in this deck because they are playing the Nash Knight package with the C101. This also overlaps with Perulia. So, Stake Your Soul is still at 3. I think Vanquish Soul is in a better spot in the OCG than it is in the TCG. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this deck is still running around even after this list. Herald of the Arclight. With Obedience School now forbidden, there is nothing stopping the Yummy strategy from playing multiple of these. So this is very similar to an approach that was taken in the TCG, pretty much just funneling this card from being spammed in the Yummy deck. Now that there are no real locks that are preventing you from making the Herald. This very benefits Dracotail a lot. However, Ketu Dracotail did get limited. Now, let's talk about Ketu real quick. If you look at the metagame report, Dracotail has not been doing so hot in the past couple of months. Yummy and Vanquish Soul were just very strong themes. Even though Dracotail had a fair Yummy matchup, Yummy was still strong enough to just beat Dracotail, especially if they make Herald of Arclight. If they, in the post side, you see some lists that do play Retaliating Sea. Dracotail was not doing super favorable. However, Ketu was not hit because of Dracotail. And it's kind of weird to say that, right? So, I don't have lists on me. I have to do more research, but I can tell you for certain that this was done in the OCG. And the best reference I can take is this Shadow deck. I mean, this tier limit deck. This is from YCS Dortmund from 2023. And this was piloted by Vincenzo Orofino, which is one of the best Italian players around. And they did win YCS Dortmund in 2022. If you look at this tier limit deck, you notice something very peculiar. This card was in the side deck. Shadow Fusion was in the side deck alongside Shadow Shekinaga in order to funnel out the Ishizu cards and use the strategy more efficiently when going second. In the OCG, they were doing the same thing with Ketu Dracotail. A lot of people were citing 3 copies and playing 1 copy of Urgula or Pan or Paimena. And basically the strategy was, if you go second, you activate Ketu. Ketu adds the Pan or Urgula, and then you fuse away with the Pan and or Urgula into Arthalion or Gulamel just to try to break your opponent's board. And that strategy proved to be very powerful in some side decks. So yeah, this card was very, very splashable, and it was done for a couple of months now. That's the main takeaway behind Ketu Dracotail. It is sad to see that Dracotail does get like hit in the crossfire because of this, but this was very popular, and in a way, it's fair to hit Dracotail since you're hitting the other strategies from Justice Hunters alongside it. Now, let's go to the semi-limits. Izuna, Snatchy, Common, Simon and Timon, Astrograph, Bestial, Emergency, and Pressure Planet. Pressure Planet and Emergency could go back to 3. Like, these strategies were not doing so well. Fenrir is still forbidden in the OCG, and Unicorn, I think, is semi-limited, if I'm not mistaken. So, Tachtira is not doing anything anytime soon, even as an engine. Rescue Ace, again, this has not been doing anything at all for a while. Rescue Ace is a really cool strategy, and I think Rescue Ace does have all the tools it needs to do to perform fairly well in the OCG as well as the TCG. It just needs a very good pilot that can find a way to just follow all the strategy. Don't forget, we did get indirect support for Rescue Ace in Doom of Dimensions. So, yeah, maybe there will be a place for this deck again. Bestial Goldrake. So, this benefits Malice a lot, and the reason it benefits Malice more than any other strategy is because Snatchy got hit. With Snatchy now semi-limited, Bestials are now a really good tool against Yummy. Especially since Obedience School is now gone. There are ways to recover like your Yummy engine with your field spells. However, now the Yummy player has to be more careful when using the resources, because there is a world where you just see people just siding the multiple Bestials against that strategy. And again, Malice was already doing fairly okay in the OCG, so you could see them adapt to the heavy Bestial engine if Yummy still stays popular. Astrograph has not done, Pendulums have not done anything in the OCG, so Astrograph could arguably come back to 3. Sangen Kaiman, this is a scary one. If you give Tenpai Dragons enough cards back, you will see this deck doing well. Like, this deck did win an Asia Championship this year, and it's mainly because as a blind going second deck, in a best of 1 format, like there's little room for error, like in a deck like this one. Now, I think Time into 2 is fine. I don't remember if Chandra is already limited. I think it is. So, yeah. Fair hit. Izuna. This was obvious. This was soon to be done. This is a hit to the Vanquish Soul strategy, as well as any strategy that just sides K9. So, yeah. We're slowly seeing K9 just being funneled out of the contention. I don't think this engine is going to be gone anytime soon. I think you'll still see Vanquish Soul K9 running around. But Izuna to 2 is a very fair hit. And now you see the limiteds. Surprisingly, we still have Nightmare Goblin Forbidden. Everything else we already had it back at 3. The Adventure Token strategy got announced that it was going to receive support in the future. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that before 2026. Adventure Token as an engine has not done anything as of late, so it's fair to see this card coming back. I will say this, Harpy's Featherstorm is still in the game, and this card can be used alongside that. So keep an eye on that. Also, this is a Wind Beast, so it helps out Tri-Brigade's strategies. That's it from me. I hope you found this video informative to your liking and understanding. The biggest takeaway from here is that I think the OCG did very fair hits. I really liked Justice Hunters entering the format. I think the game was in a much healthier state than it was before Justice Hunters. Now we gotta have to wait and see whether or not it's still the case after these hits. Phantom Revengers was also a very balanced set, so who knows? Maybe the themes from from that set will do well in the OCG. Right below Crystron, you see Eniacraft, and a little bit under that, you see Killer Tune. So there is a world these two strategies just enter the format. One last note. This deck will be very, very, very annoying when it arrives in the TCG. Mark my words. I'll talk about Eniacraft later on in the future. But yeah, I've seen very degenerate things being done in the OCG with this deck. Okay, that's it from me. Keep practicing and keep dueling.